artists, it's Gina. Welcome to art class. We are going to be doing a giraffe with Zentangles today. The art lesson could be a little bit challenging for kindergarten through 3rd grade. They might need a little bit of help from older artists. Zentangles are an art form that I think is really relaxing for all ages. So I know that there's a lot of different ages that are doing my lessons, and so this is a good art form that's just, you don't even have to do it in a giraffe form. You could just open up a sketchbook and it's like doodling. So I wanted to really teach this because it's just a fun activity just to do on your couch when you're at home. So we're going to get started. There are easy Zentangles and more challenging Zentangles. There are books about Zentangles. I have a few in the studio that I like to have available for kids that kind of teach how to start the Zentangle. They give you some art project ideas, but they break it up into just simple little steps. I'm going to be teaching a variety of simple Zentangles and a little more challenging Zentangles. If you just want to stick with the simple Zentangles, then there's a couple of shapes that you could just switch out and not do just like me, if you'd like. But how we're going to get started is we're going to do the giraffe head. So we are going to be making a circle like we do with all animals, kind of like an oval, like this. I'm putting my giraffe at an angle, but if you want to do it straight up and down, that works as well. Then I'm going to draw the nose part. Kind of comes down, sort of more flat. It's like sort of like a semicircle, and it curves down here at the bottom of the circle. We're going to put the mouth right below it so we don't forget. It's just another line that's parallel. The nose sort of has like loops, like it's a loop and then another loop on the other side. And then you can fill it in like little ovals on the inside. You can connect it if you want to the side there. I also made a V shape and erased that. Just a V right in between the two ovals. And then I'm going to carry that line up, and it's going to kind of come out just a little bit like that. We're going to make the eyes. We've done this before, like sideways V's, because the eyeball is looking at us. So it's on the side of the head. So we're doing a sideways V. And on this side, you can still do another sideways V, or you could do a upside down V. And then the line coming down like this. You could have the eyeball. It's just a little semicircle on both sides. And another little circle on the inside. Those are going to be the whites. We have the eyeball. We're going to leave a little white circle, sparkly like we always do. And some eyelashes. Then you can fill that in. You can fill it in with a big Sharpie or a small Sharpie. Once you have the lines that you like, I'm going to do the eyelashes with an ultra fine Sharpie so that they're thinner. And then I'll fill this in, except for not the white sparkly. Now the ears are coming out from here, the side of the head, and then it comes down and comes and wraps around. And then you see the side, so let me hold this up first. So the ear, and you'll see the side of the ear like we draw on our animals. And then we'll draw the other ear. And the side of the ear. And then again, there's parts of the giraffe that I don't know the names of it. I might make this just coming down just a little bit so I have room for these horn. So they're kind of like a rectangle, or two parallel lines, I mean, that would become a rectangle. And they have sort of like a, I'm kind of making that too jetted out. See, I do a lot of erasing. Kind of comes out a little bit. And there's another one. There's first a little hump in the middle, and then there's another. All of you might draw a lot better than me. Sometimes when I'm demonstrating my drawing, might not look the best. So I know you might draw a lot better than me. We're going to draw the neck coming down, and the other side of the neck coming down. They have kind of like little jaw here. So it's almost like the line comes down and then juts in. So juts in, and then the neck. Now we're going to start to do some of the Zentangles. I have some shapes here of different Zentangles. There's some easier ones like the little patterns of the giraffe, and some stripes with lines and dots, polka dots. There's some more challenging ones. So you can decide, you can make up whatever patterns you want, but I'm going to teach how to do several of them. So the first one we're going to do are the little spots. So I made little spots like the giraffe has. I just filled in the shapes. They can be any shape. There's little shapes, bigger shapes, just make them all a little different. And then to make it a Zentangle, I filled it in with lines, all going the same direction. You can make on this side another Zentangle that's kind of fun is starting in the center and going around and around like a pinwheel. And when you hit a line that you already have, like I just did, so I started in the center and I just went around and around and around. When I hit that line, I could come over here, if I still have room, and make another one. Then I can start right here and do the same thing until I hit a line, like I hit this line. Well, I can just start right here and wrap around. When I hit that line again, I can just pretend like it keeps going and keep adding those lines. So I did some little pinwheel shapes and patterns on that side of the cheek. In the center, you could kind of break up the pattern and do like little shapes and do different easier patterns if you want, but I'm going to show you how I did my pattern that I created. I found a circle shape, but you don't even have to trace a circle if you don't mind that it's not perfect. I'm trying to find a circle shape that's small enough and big enough for my space. So I'm going to trace one circle. Then I have to go smaller circle, and an even smaller circle. So I have 3 circles. But if you want to just draw the circles, if you don't mind if they're not perfect, then that's okay. And I put a dot right in the middle. Then what I did is these little flower patterns. There's just a little shape like a dewdrop or a raindrop or a flower petal, and I'm just going to draw them. They do not have to be perfect. This is kind of the fun thing about Zentangles. They're like a doodle that doesn't have to be perfect. We're just having fun and doing a pattern. So I'm going to turn it around so that I'm constantly doing that dewdrop shape. Some artists do Zentangles right with the pen. They don't even start with a pencil. And then what I did is I did little loops. I just did like little leapfrogs from one into the center. This is a little more challenging, but kind of see. And then I eventually filled these in with a Sharpie, but I just want you to know which ones I filled in. All of the dewdrops get filled in with a Sharpie. Actually, I could just demonstrate with the Sharpie. Might be easier. So you're going to fill all of those in, and you're also going to trace that little flower pattern on the outside. The little leapfrog flower pattern. And you're going to fill all that in. And I did a line, traced the circle lines and the little dot. And then you can do the eraser. Once you have it all traced, then you can come in and kind of erase some of your pencil lines. And that's how I made that flower pattern. It's not all the way traced yet, but you'll get this idea. You just fill in all the dewdrops. So the next shape that we're going to fill in with a Zentangle is the horn. So what you can do is you could divide into little sections and then decide what Zentangle pattern you'd like to put in each section. So this first section, what I did is I just did lines, and then I filled them in like that. Every other line, so it looks like striped pattern. The next one I did was cross hatching. So I did lines all in the same direction, and then I went in a different direction over them. And I have it's cross hatching. But if you want to just do dots, you could do anything. This next one I did stripes again. Might switch over to my pen so you can see it better. And I filled them in every other stripe for a pattern. This next pattern, I did a similar pattern like this. I did the little pinwheel. And when I hit the edge, I just kept going. And do one more. And then I'm going to come over here and do a pinwheel. It's kind of fun. It's very relaxing. And then I ended with little W's on the top and little hairs on the very, very tip. So now we have one horn done. For the little hump in the middle of the head, I did dots. You can do bigger dots and smaller dots, kind of make it different sizes. And I'm going to break that up until here. I'm going to do that whole thing right through here. And then here's the next horn. We're going to break the next horn into shapes. So you see how I did my dots above my flower? And then I just divided my horn into shapes, little lines. And you can just choose whichever pattern you want to add into those shapes. So you could do just like me, or you could do a different shape. For this bottom one, I did little circles, and then I filled around it, kind of like we do with the eye. So I left some white spots. The circles are white instead of filled in. And that's how I did this pattern. The next pattern was just polka dots. Really easy. Then I did a stripe, one stripe filled in, and another set of polka dots. Kind of fun. I did another stripe, but this time I didn't fill it in. And then you could do stripes going this way and filling in every other. And then I did circles again and filled in around those circles and added the little hairs. We have our 2 horns done. Next we need to do the ear. Both ears I did similar, so I'm only going to demonstrate one ear, and then you can repeat on the other side. So I did a line coming up next to it, like that. I switched to the pen because I'm pretty confident without erasing. If you want to do your pencil first and then trace with the pen later, you can do that. Or if you want to switch right away to the pen, because you're overly confident and you know you won't erase, that's okay as well. So I filled this in like that. And then I did a line down and another line. So there's 3 lines, 2 lines that I added, and 2 spaces. Sorry if that was kind of confusing. And I did upside down V shapes. I did a line to the center and a line going down, another line going up to the center and then going down. That's all it is. Line going up, line going down. It's kind of fun. Then I turned mine a little bit upside down because it's easier to do M shapes. And then I did little upside down U's inside, and I filled those in. Then what I did, which was kind of fun, was I switched it up and so I was using an ultra fine Sharpie. I switched to the fine point Sharpie. And I just did some swirls, and you can do taller ones just so that they don't run into each other. And you can tell it's a little thicker than the thin one. It's kind of fun to mix and match between the thick and thin. And then the other ear is the same way. Just going to do one line and fill it in. Use a thicker Sharpie to fill in. Then I'm going to do a line coming down the middle, not quite to the middle, parallel to the other line, and another line. And I'm going to do those V shapes. So it's going up to the center, down, up to the center, down. I'm going to turn it upside down and make those M shapes. Make them big so you can put the other shapes inside, another shape inside of it, and fill it in. And then I got out my big pen, my fine point pen. It's really not that big, but it's bigger than my ultra fine. And I did those little curly cues in the ears. In the nose, I did M shapes again. So this shape right here, I just filled with M's, kind of like what we did in the peacock body. And in this part of the giraffe, I did dots. Now, when you make your dots really close together, it will look like a little darker of a value. And when you make your dots farther away, like this, it will look lighter. So this looks darker because I made them closer together. It's called stippling, and I made them farther apart over here. So I like to kind of mix it up. You can do all the same, or you could do like me and sort of mix it up. Some close together, some farther away. Now we're going to go into the giraffe's neck. So what I did is I just divided it into some shapes like we did with the horns. So you could just go like a line across, and then I did a thinner line, and then I did a thicker line, and a thinner line. Or you could do all the same kind of square shapes. On this top part, I did upside down, or V shapes. They're not upside down, they're actually V's, or W's, like that. You could do the lines inside of those W's, or you could do them like I did on the outside of them. Sometimes it's easier to do straight lines when you turn your paper. So I'm doing them inside, like that. And I added little circles inside. And then I left that section blank, and I did more W's. See, there's a W. I keep connecting them, more W's all the way across from the top to the bottom. And I'm going to do those lines again. You could switch it up and do lines inside this way. There's no right or wrong with Zentangles. That's the kind of the fun of it, is that you're just creating patterns. It's very whimsical. You can just sort of zone out, just create the patterns, and then you can just do the circles inside here, like that. So I did 3 sections like that. So you could do 3 sections if you'd like, or 2 sections. And then I did a bigger square for this pattern. This pattern is kind of similar to our pinwheel, where you're starting in the center and going around, but then you stop. And you do another one. Start in the center and go around. Do another one. I just go around like maybe once or twice, or 3 times. And then I did bigger circles and little circles, bigger circles, little circles. So I'm just going to continue to make big dots, little dots, until the square is kind of full, like that. The next pattern I chose was just big dots across. But you could do a different pattern. If you've never done Zentangles before, you might want to just kind of copy me. But if you've done them before, maybe you come up with some of your own Zentangles. And then I did 3 lines across, and 3 lines, or might be 4 lines. So I have kind of like a checkered board. And I'm going to color in every other. So the ones I'm going to color in, I'm going to put an X. And the next row are going to be opposite. And then I'm going to do opposite again. That way, when you start to color in, you don't get mixed up. And you're going to fill in all of the squares that are X'd. Sometimes it's easier to fill in with the bigger Sharpie. And you're going to get a checkerboard pattern, which is kind of fun. The next pattern I'm going to put in this box, and it's just a circle with another circle outside of it. If you want to trace some circles, you can. I had some of the circles look like they were going off that part, and maybe even off the side here. And then you're going to fill in the center circle. And little dots in here. The next one I did was little circles, and I filled around them. So it's dark all around them. So the circles remain white, kind of like we do with sparkly eyes. The next one, kind of put at a slant. So you could always slant these. And I did that same pattern down here with my thicker. And then the last pattern is this pattern. And I used a dot in the center. And then I did a circle. I do it just a little smaller. One circle, and then I found a circle a little bigger. And I made circles inside those two circles. And then I did a bigger circle. And then I used my fine pen and I did M shapes all the way around it. Actually, I find it easier to go this way to there. And then you could use a smaller one and go around it. And then do little dots inside those M's. Now you can just leave it like that, or you could do dots out here, or you could keep doing little loops. You could do whatever pattern. It's all fun, and there's no right or wrong. After you're done with your pencil and doing all your Zentangles, trace your lines with your pen, like I did, and fill all of the things in, and then you can come in with your eraser and erase your pencil lines, because you might be able to see some of them. So I'm just going to erase all my pencil lines, and then I'm going to sign my name, and I have accomplished my first Zentangle giraffe. Please send me pictures. I'd love to see yours. Thank you.